Welcome to Season 2 of the Dirt Court Jesters podcast. This is Josh, and on episode 39, the sprint car landscape in the Ohio Valley undergoes a massive change in the off-season. And speaking of off-season, the 2025 dirt racing season is upon us. I hope you guys are ready to get dirty. This week in dirt racing history, going back to January 29th of 2010 in Bubba Raceway Park, where the Allstar Circuit of Champions would pay a visit and Danny Lasowski would get the victory. Tim Schaefer would finish in second and Dale Blaney in third. If you get a minute, go back and check this out on my race pass. What a field of cars they had that night at Bubba Raceway Park.
Let me talk to you!
This week's talking points. In November, Lucas Oil announced it would be dissolving the Midwest Late Model Racing Association series in order to focus more attention on the Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series. As we all know, PowerEye 410 created the Elite 16 program, and the benefits as follows: $150,000 point fund awarded to drivers at the end of the season based on point standings, a free PowerEye membership, which includes $100,000 in secondary medical insurance coverage across divisions, free start-to-finish express pass, which is a fast-track access to an event, tire bonus where one Hoosier right rear tire would be awarded at each race, merchandising opportunities. The approved Elite 16 drivers may sell merchandise from the PowerEye trailer. Provisionals, each driver is eligible for up to 3 provisionals per year. Appearance money, $200 for drivers ranked 1 through 10 and $100 for drivers ranked 11 through 16 in points. Free pit passes. Drivers in positions 1 through 10 will receive 2 free pit passes, while drivers in position 11 through 16 will receive 1 free pit pass. Moving on to the Gateway Dirt Nationals. In 2025, they're going to be paying $50,000 to win and $3,000 to start. That event just keeps getting bigger and bigger. Gonna have to get to St. Louis to check out the Dome. 8 new Sprint Car Hall of Fame inductees for 2025. They're going to be as follows: drivers Craig Delansky, Damian Gardner, and Todd Schaefer. Owner, mechanic, builder, or manufacturer Davey Brown Jr. and Don Ott get the nod. And promoters, officials, media member, event, or series sponsors Carlton Reimers and Steve Sinclair. Congratulations to those 8 on their Hall of Fame induction. Tech in Tulsa seemed to be the topic during the Tulsa shootout. Tire doping and refusing to allow motors to be torn down. Some of the bigger stories there out of the Tulsa shootout. And it wouldn't be a Dirt Court Jesters podcast episode if I didn't talk about wicker bills. The World of Outlaw Sprint Cars are going to allow 1.5-inch wicker bills in 2025. High limit in 2025. Their point fund's going to be up $50,000. Tow money paid out monthly. Tier based on points. 20 full-time drivers with both the World of Outlaw late models and the Lucas Oil late models. And we're looking at 14 to 16 full-time drivers for the World of Outlaw Sprint Cars, as well as high limit. I didn't see that number coming. I was thinking they were both going to be closer to 10. But the fact that they're looking at 14 to 16 each, 20 full-time drivers with both big late model series, I mean, that's good stuff. Even USAC sprint cars, I believe they've got 12 full-time guys right now. So, I don't know. I hope we keep trending in the right direction. A good amount of rookies in both the World of Outlaw sprint cars as well as the high limit. Not sure you can call Reitzel a rookie, but if I had to pick a side for the best rookies, I think I'm going to go with high limit.
Acknowledge me!
Recapping some of the racing we missed while we were on our break. Indoor season happened, and Brandon Shepard wins the Gateway Dirt Nationals. The 26 Rumble in Fort Wayne, Joe Liguri wins the midget portion, leading all 50 laps from the pole. The Tulsa shootout and the non-wing outlaws, Larson and Bell, would battle and to the line, but it's Christopher Bell that gets the victory. Braxton Bush would win in the junior sprints. Owen Larson had a nice 6th place finish. In the wingday class, Larson went from 12th place to the win. 14-year-old Hoosier Parker Perry finished 2nd, and 14-year-old Jet Yanis went from 21st to 3rd. Christopher Bell gets a 5th place finish there in the wingday class. In the restricted Class A, 14-year-old Hayden Hansen with the win. Moving over to the Chili Bowl, Clinton Boyles and Hunter Schoenberg DQ'd after the tire doesn't pass. Man, there was a lot of tire doping that was talked about in the offseason. I had no clue that Simple Green was responsible for all of this. Damn you, Simple Green. Clinton Boyles would take to Flow social media and explain that he wet grinded the tire with Simple Green prior to heading to Tulsa. I will say it's cool of him to go on social media and explain what he did and own up to what happened, and as we now know, Simple Green is to blame for all of this. Larson would win his 3rd driller at the Chili Bowl. Kyle Larson gets the win at the Chili Bowl. Dason Pursley 2nd, and Shane Golobic in 3rd. Shane Golobic was a busy man at the Chili Bowl. Not only did he finish in 3rd, but he also worked on the 4th and 5th place cars. What a week for Shane Golobic. Moving back outside in the Wild West shootout, night number 1, Bobby Pierce. Night number 2, Bobby Pierce. Bobby Pierce and Brandon Shepard would battle, but Pierce was able to get the inside of B-Shep going into 3, and Bobby Pierce would grab the win. It's hard to believe at that point in time during the Wild West shootout that Brandon Shepard's last victory outside was in July. That's nuts. Night number 3 at the Wild West shootout, it snowed. It was snowed out. If that's any indication of how the weather's going to be this year, I am already pissed. I'll tell you, last year, Kings Royal, 4 Crown, you guys know that's where I spend a lot of my time. We couldn't have had better weather. I think it was like 75 for the Kings Royal, which is very rare. And I also don't recall it really hardly raining, which is odd. Then, for the 4 Crown, it was damn near 90. We're probably going to pay for it this year. But let's get back on topic. Wild West shootout, night number 4, Bobby Pierce. You know what? Why don't we wrap up the Wild West shootout with the finale in the winner, Bobby Pierce. Bobby Pierce puts on a clinic at the Wild West shootout at Vado. Way to start 2025, Bobby Pierce. Moving over to the World of Outlaw late models, January 24th at Volusia, Ryan Gustin gets the win, Jonathan Davenport in 2nd, and Brandon Overton in 3rd. January 25th, right back at Volusia with the World of Outlaw late models, Garrett Alberson gets his first World of Outlaw late model victory. Jonathan Davenport would finish 2nd once again, and Max Blair in 3rd. Ocala had modified week in the P.J. Wiggins Memorial. Devin Dixon from 8th to the victory. Jeff Matthews finishes in 2nd, and Chase Holland from 12th to 3rd. Jimmy Lennox Jr. would run from 21st to 7th. Way to get up on the wheel, Jimmy Lennox. January 26th in the 52nd Grand Annual Sprint Car Classic across the pond in Australia, James McFadden wins his 3rd Grand Annual. Congratulations to J-Mac. Can't say I'm surprised. The man can drive a sprint car. Hell of a run by Corey Eliason, who would finish in 2nd, and nice 3rd place for Jamie Veal. Jock Goodyear had a memorable week with lots of highlights, and he would grab a 5th place finish in the Sprint Car Classic over there in Australia. Garrett Williamson would finish 7th, and Cole Macedo would finish in 8th. I want to give a shout out to Victory Fuel. From Throttle Punch to Lucky Lemon to the ever delicious Purple Potion. They've got 4 packs, 12 packs, and some cool merchandise. Get to drinkvictory.com and use the code GESTURES10 at checkout to save. Drinkvictory.com and use the code GESTURES10 at checkout to save. Series, teams, drivers, tracks, dirt media. This is your time, and this is your spotlight. The spotlight's on, and this week's spotlight is Wayne County Speedway in Ohio. Wayne County Speedway opened as a 3/8 mile dirt oval in June of 1965. Pete Jacobs would be the man who spearheaded this on some farmland that he owned south of Orrville, Ohio, which is in northeast Ohio. Opening night for Wayne County is going to be April 5th. They're also going to have visits from Boss, Fast, the Ironman Late Model Series, host a Ohio Sprint Speed Week race, as well as a Hell Tour race. The Pete Jacobs Memorial is on August 31st, and it's going to pay $10,000 to win, as it's sanctioned by the Allstar Circuit of Champions. The season wraps up September 19th and 20th with the two-night Ohio Dirt Blowout. And Wayne County is celebrating 60 years of racing in 2025. If you get a chance and you're in Northeast Ohio, get to Wayne County Speedway.
I'm the tower of power, too sweet to be sour. I'm funky like a monkey. Sky's the limit and space is the place.
This week's View from the Valley, a lot to talk about here. Since we were last on, the off-season was wild. We're going to start with, in November, GLSS announced any car running an aluminum block will be required to weigh at least 1,500 pounds. They are still a steel block group, and ultimately the two largest pros for steel blocks are going to be the motor longevity between rebuilds and the horsepower generated. But they made a decision to allow the aluminum blocks for two reasons: availability and repairability. So GLSS announced that change, and on that note, we're going to go over the GLS schedule for 2025. They're going to do the same thing as they did last year with the Ohio and the Michigan groups, but they also got the full master schedule. If you go to GreatLakesSupersprints.com, you can check that out. Going to open up the season at Greenville Speedway on April 4th. That's going to be Greenville, Mississippi for GLSS, before going to Jackson International in Mississippi as well. I-75 in Tennessee a couple times with USCS. That's pretty cool. They're in April. Crystal, I-96, Limaland gets some feed from GLSS as they always do. Millstream's on there. Waynesfield, Lawrenceburg, Butler, Thunderbird, Limaland and Waynesfield, Millstream. Just pretty much once the season gets going, a lot of the same tracks, which is what we expect to see. August 2nd, GLSS is going to be at Eldora Speedway. Can't wait to see that. Following that up a week later, Silver Bullet Speedway. Then I-96 Butler, which, man, did Butler have a good offseason putting together a schedule for 2025. A lot going up there in Michigan for Butler Speedway. Then to Oswego in Southern Ontario, as they did this past year going into Canada. Crystal Motor Speedway, back to Oswego for 3 nights before wrapping up the season with High Limit at Eldora for the now 3-night 4 Crown Nationals. I don't know about you guys, but I'm freaking jacked about that. Said it before, I'll say it again. 4 Crown Nationals, underrated. Now that it's 3 nights, I think they're going to make Saturday more streamlined, not 2 in the morning. And I think people are going to enjoy that. Not to mention you get some GLS sprint cars out there at Eldora as well. 3 nights of racing. Sign me up. Moving on from GLSS, I want to talk about Western PA Speed Week in 2025. Wednesday, May 28th, they're going to be at Mercer Raceway. Thursday, May 29th, PA Motor Speedway. May 30th, Friday, Lernerville. Saturday, the 31st, Sharon. And wrapping it up on June 1st at Tri-City Raceway. Really good car count for Western PA Speed Week last year. I expect to see the same for them this year. Moving to Ohio Valley Sprint Cars. They're going to start the season. They've got a show at the Athens Mall March 7th through the 16th. On the weekend, if you get a chance, get over there to the Athens Mall and check out the race car show. Also, another race car show is going to be at the old Piqua Mall in March as well. If you get a chance to check that out too. I plan to make a stop there myself. OVSCA's 2025 schedule starts April 4th at Ohio Valley Speedway. May 2nd, they're back at Ohio Valley Speedway. They've got a couple TBAs yet for May 10th and 17th. They're also going to make stops at Jackson County and Mudlick Valley, as well as 35 Raceway Park. And October 3rd, the final at the Ohio Valley Speedway is where they're going to wrap up their 2025 season. Before getting to the elephant in the room, I'm going to talk about some late models. We're going to go with the Northern All-Star Late Model Series first. They're going to start March 1st at Brownstown in Indiana before going to Florence. They're back at those places pretty quick. They also hit Paragon, Circle City, Lawrenceburg, Bloomington, Lake Cumberland, and they wrap up their season on September 13th at Lawrenceburg Speedway. Moving over to the American Ironman Late Model Series, they're going to start the season April 4th at Atomic with the World of Outlaw Late Models and $12,000 to win. Should be a great show and a great way to start off the season for the guys with the Ironman Late Model Series as well as Atomic. That's going to be a 2-night show, April 4th and 5th, before moving to Eldora on April 19th. Attica, Fremont, Atomic, Butler, Crystal, Moeller, which I really like what Moeller has done in the offseason. They've got my interest peaked, and I hope to get over there to check out some racing. They're also going to make stops at Limaland, Montpelier, Oakshade, Atomic again, Hidden Hollow and 201, both in Kentucky, Millstream, Wayne County, Richmond in Kentucky, Mountain Motor Speedway is also going to be a stop there in Kentucky. A lot of Kentucky tracks popping up. Attica, Butler, Eldora, 191 Speedway out there in the Bluegrass State as well. Atomic, Skyline, Mudlick Valley, and wrapping it up with 2 nights at Atomic. So the Ironman late models are going to wrap up the season the way they started the season, with back-to-back nights at Atomic Speedway. Can't wait to see how the season goes for them fellas. Moving on to the USAC Midwest Thunder Midgets. I actually reached out to them today as I'm recording this to see if I could get some of the TBAs, but they're doing it to work with tracks. Tracks are still working on their schedule, as we are well aware here in Ohio. There's a lot of Ohio tracks that don't have their schedule out. And on that note, if you want to go to Ohio Dirt Track Stats, JD is always on top of it. He's got a lot of stuff on there, specifically your 2025 Ohio Dirt Track racing schedule. You can go there, and he's got her up to date, starting when they kick things off in March until the season wraps up all the way in October. Moving over to the USAC Midwest Thunder Midgets, the D2 Midgets. They've got a tentative schedule for 2025. Reached out to them today as I'm recording this to see if they had any of the TBAs filled. Sounds like they've got most of that schedule worked out, but some of the tracks, as I was saying earlier, don't have their schedule out. So they're working with the tracks and just kind of keeping it as TBAs until the tracks actually announce it on their end. Right now, they're going to start the season at Montpelier on April 26th. They've got Millstream on there, as well as Eldora, Circle City, Moeller, Millstream with the Allstars, which would be very cool. Paragon, Kokomo with the USAC, Sprints, Moeller, Millstream, Montpelier, Lawrenceburg, Circle City with USAC Sprints once again, Moeller Raceway, Montpelier, and they're going to wrap up their season October 4th at Montpelier Speedway. They do have one more race listed on there as October 11th at Coles County, Illinois. That will be a non-points race, so their points season will wrap up on October 4th. Always excited to get a chance to see the USAC Midwest Thunder Midgets. Now to get to the elephant in the room. If you caught the Dirt Tracks and Rib Racks episode of our annual schedule release, you heard a little bit about the conversation. If you haven't had a chance to listen to it yet, go check it out. We talk about some schedule releases for the National Series, but we also talk about everything that's going on here in the Ohio Valley area with multiple sprint car series. We know PowerEye is starting to expand more. They've got some races in Indiana and a race in Kentucky. And with that at PRI, Fast and Boss Sprints joined under the PowerEye banner. So it's going to be interesting to see how that worked out. We know as far as Speed Week was concerned, Fast was great in taking care of that last year. And for whatever reason, whatever happened, the All-Star Circuit of Champions came back, and Speed Week returned to the All-Stars. So it's going to be interesting to see how these folks all try to work out. My hope is they can, but I don't know that this area is that big to have multiple series, especially if they cannot work together, which in conversations I've had with various people, sounds like working together is not a big thing for some folks. So it's going to be interesting for sure. Obviously, you guys know how I am. I want to see racing. I want to see everybody succeed. I want tracks to stay open. I want series and teams and drivers all to be successful and be able to go do what they love to do. It's going to be interesting with this expansion, just how all of this is going to shake out. Right now, the Fast Series, they start their racing March 15th at Pittsburgh, PA Speedway. March 22nd is a rain date for that, so they definitely plan on getting the season started there in March. They also make stops at Millstream, Atomic, Muskegon County, Tri-City, Michaels-Mercer Raceway, Knox Raceway, Lincoln Park in Indiana, Paragon, Terre Haute. They've got a TBA still on June 28th. Skyline Speedway July 3rd is going to be the Pete Smith Memorial. Racing also on July 4th at Tri-City Raceway in Pennsylvania. July 5th, Wayne County. Then they continue to hit a lot of tracks that they have already hit through August. One race scheduled in September and wrapping up their season on Saturday, October 4th at Atomic. So nice schedule there for Fast. I noticed they're in Indiana there the 20th, the 21st, and the 22nd. Now, they're on the other side of the state. That's also at the end of Ohio Sprint Speed Week, so I don't know if you got guys that are out of the Sprint Speed Week here in Ohio would travel over there to that side of Indiana, but I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility. That'll be kind of an interesting weekend to watch. And also on that note, I said it with the Dirt Track and Rib Rack guys, I wonder if this is a make or break year for wing sprint car racing in Indiana. PowerEye's got some races there. Fast is going over there. We know the Maverick Series tried to do their thing, but that just didn't work out. So kind of curious to see how wing sprint car racing is received in the state of Indiana as well. Moving on from Fast, we're going to go to the All-Star Circuit of Champions schedule. Look, really cool that they're coming back. I'm not going to deny that. I don't know if this was a plan all along or not. I feel like it was, but then again, I don't know. Maybe Sweet and Larson saw something else and decided now they're going to go. But obviously, the way things shook out is just kind of weird. They're going to start the season April 11th and 12th at ASCoC. They're also going to go to Fremont there in April. Then there's a big gap between the end of April and the beginning of June. Nothing in May for the All-Star Circuit of Champions. They're going to Williams Grove, Lincoln Speedway, back to ASCoC, Sharon, Millstream, Wayne County, Eldora, Fremont, Waynesfield, Moeller, and Atomic. That wraps up your Speed Week. Again, June 13th through June 21st, 9 straight nights. ASCoC, Sharon, Millstream, Wayne County, Eldora, Fremont, Waynesfield, Moeller, and wrapping it up at Atomic, your Ohio Sprint Speed Week. In June 21st at Atomic, that is also going to be the Dean Niddle Memorial, the 8th annual Dean Niddle Memorial, $90,000 in the A main purse, $25,554 to win. Jeff Niddle just keeps doing it. Heat race wins $354. Last place finisher in each heat gets $54. I mean, he's just spreading the money around. Very cool to see. Always love to see that. Leader of the 12th lap gets $1,254. Bonus in honor of Dean's 12 championships. And it's going to be $1,554 to start the 8th annual Dean Niddle Memorial, which is going to wrap up Ohio Sprint Speed Week at Atomic. Then June 28th, they're going to go to Mercer Raceway in Pennsylvania before going to State Line in New York for the 4th of July. The 5th of July is a TBA still. Then August 1st, Hartford in Michigan. Then they're going to hit Wayne County, Bloomington, Paragon, I-96, Waynesfield, Attica a couple times for a 2-night show. Then to Wayne County. So that's 3 straight nights there. Attica, August 29th and 30th, and Wayne County on August 31st. $10,000 to win there at Wayne County. Then September 5th, they're back in New York, Freedom Motorsports Park. September 6th, Michael Mercer Raceway in Pennsylvania. September 12th and 13th, they wrap up the season and the return of the All-Stars at Fremont Speedway. So I don't know how I feel about the New York stuff. Pennsylvania, I don't think it's a big deal. New York, I know that they ran up there. I think you might be stretching yourself there. I'm not sure how many of the guys are going to be able to follow you to New York. I think Ohio, Michigan, Indiana, Pennsylvania, obviously, if they wanted to go down in Kentucky, I think that is very, very easy. Even maybe Tennessee. New York, to me, seems a bit of a stretch, but hey, good to have the All-Stars back and good to see some very strong schedules from the various dirt racing series in the Ohio Valley for 2025.
I drank a beer. I drank another beer. 3 beers. 4 beers. Oh, no.
Wrapping up the first podcast of 2025 and Season 2, Episode 39. Glad to be back. It's almost time to get to the track. January 27th, Needmore Speedway is going to have Hunt the Front. January 28th, Needmore Speedway with Hunt the Front once again. January 30th, Alltech Raceway and the Winter Nationals with Lucas Oil Late Models. Volusia is going to have the Dirt Car Nationals with ASCS and Dirt Car UMP Modifieds. January 31st, Alltech Raceway with the Winter Nationals and the Lucas Oil Late Models. Volusia and Dirt Car Nationals with ASCS and Dirt Car UMP Modifieds. And February 1st, Alltech Raceway and the Winter Nationals with Lucas Oil Late Models. Volusia and the Dirt Car Nationals with ASCS UMP Modifieds. And I-75 in Tennessee is going to try to get underway with the Southern All-Star Late Models.
Goodbye. Mwah, and good night, bang.
Thanks for listening to the Dirt Court Jesters podcast. As always, this is Josh, and you can follow us on X, on Facebook, and on YouTube at Dirt Court Jester. And we hope to see you guys at the track.